Today we're going to look at tolerance-based machining. Up to now we have just considered the machining operations and the machining strategies to machine the part down to the specified dimension. But now what we would like to do is to set up the machine so that it will machine within a range of tolerances. And to do that we can adjust the strategies, the different machining strategies, depending on the tolerance that we specify. Traditionally this has been a problem coming from CAD models to CNC programming, where the CNC machine would traditionally follow the medium value specified on the dimension. But ideally what we'd look for to happen is for the machine to follow the median tolerance that's specified in the dimension. So that's what we're going to set up. Initially what we need to do is to dimension the part, and we use a feature in SOLIDWORKS called MBD, which is model based dimensioning. This used to be known as DimExpert, but they've renamed it in the 2019 version. It's still referred to as DimExpert in some parts of the program. For example, if you look over here on the feature tree here, you'll see that it's still called DimExpert. But anyway, so what I want to do is dimension the tolerances for the holes and the 3 slots here. So we start out by clicking size dimension. If you press the side here and then you want to create a width feature, press that button, create the other side, and accept. Drop down the tolerance. So this guy here, I'm looking for it to be plus 0.5 to minus 0.15. So it's not symmetrical, it's bilateral, and I'd like to go plus 0.5 and negative minus 0.125. Accept. Onto the next slot up. So again it's size dimension. Press the side wall here. Press the create width feature. Rotate the part around. Accept. Place your dimension. And the second slot up we would like to make symmetrical, plus or minus 0.25, and accept. Size dimension again. Click the side of the slot, create width feature, accept. And again we would like to put in a bilateral dimension, which is 0 to minus 0.025 millimeters. Accept. Finally, I'd like to dimension the hole. So again, it's size dimension. Click on the hole, and the software is clever enough. It knows that these were put in using a pattern, so it picks up all of the holes in the pattern, and it specifies on the dimension that there's 6 holes. They're 8 mm in diameter. Now the tolerance I would like to make here is plus or minus 0.1 of a mil, and then accept. The tolerance on the depth, you can take it as the default there, so it's 10 mil plus or minus 0.5. From here we go to SOLIDWORKS CAM tolerance-based machining add-in. And in here, the first thing I want to do is to extract the machining features, the machinable features. So we've extracted the 3 pockets, 1, 2, and 3, and the group of holes. Before I go any further, I would also like to specify the coordinate system. So by double click on the coordinate system, press on the part bounding box vertex, click on the bottom left, and accept. Now if you press on the tolerance-based machining run, make sure recognize tolerance range is selected, and if you press on tolerance range mil, we can see in black here that it's after picking up on a couple of different features. So in hole, the default strategy is drill, and I've identified 1, and the rectangular pocket, there's a rough rest finish strategy, and there's 2 of the 3 features recognized. So with hole highlighted, you can see that the tolerance range is 0.05. So this is the range of the tolerance from our hole. And just to explain how you get the range is the difference between the lowest and the highest tolerance. So our hole minus 0.1 to plus 0.1, that gives us a range of 0.2. And 0.2 falls within the range of 0.05 and 0.25. So therefore it takes this strategy here, or one of these 3, and I'll explain which one it'll pick up here in a sec. But that's the reason this middle line is highlighted. Now, whether the system goes with an undersized strategy, a nominal strategy, or an oversized strategy depends on the mean of the tolerance. And how you get the mean is you subtract the lower tolerance from the upper tolerance and divide by 2. If that's equal to 0, then it's nominal. If it's negative, it's undersized. And if it's positive, it's oversized. So for this hole, the nominal strategy would be 0. And if we take a look at the different strategies for the rectangular pocket, so we've picked up 2 out of the 3 features. It has identified the features and it has applied a strategy. Now, if we look at our 60 mil slot, the range is 0.025, and that will fall between 0 to 0.05, and that has deployed a rough rest finish because the tolerances are quite tight there. So it is deployed a rough rest finish to that. If we were to work out the mean there, the upper minus the lower divided by 2 is minus 0.0125. So therefore it's undersized. So it's going to go with an undersized strategy, which is specified here. The second feature that it is automatically picked out is the second pocket. And the second pocket is a 50 mil pocket plus or minus 0.25. So therefore it has a tolerance of 0.5 and falls underneath this second category. The strategy in this category is a rough finish strategy. So it's not as fine as the previous one. The mean is 0. If you take 0.25 minus 0.25, you're left with 0 divided by 2 is 0. So it's a nominal strategy that's going to be deployed for that one. Now the 40 here at the bottom, the 40 slot, the range on that 40 slot is 0.75, which is a very large tolerance, or a good rattling fit as they call it. And that falls outside of any of the ranges given, and that's why it's not recognized. There's only 2 of 3 here after being recognized. Now we can change that, and we will. So we just accept that. If I come to the tolerance-based machining mill settings, and underneath the rectangular pocket, we have the option down here of editing the tolerance ranges. So I'd like to just go in there and put a new tolerance range of 0.75. Sorry, I need to add that. 0.75. Don't forget to press the little green add button. Press OK. And now there's a new tolerance range added. And then I can set up the machining operation that I would like to deploy on that. under the three circumstances, whether it be undersized, nominal, or oversized. So I'm just going to leave it as rough. Press OK. And now if we go back into the tolerance-based machining and take a look at the tolerance range, see that the rectangular pocket now has 3 of 3 identified. If I press on it, the top pocket, the strategy deployed is going to be a rough rest and then finish. The middle one is going to have a rough finish, and then the bottom one will just have a rough with no finishing operation. And that's mirrored over here on the left hand side. If that's not the case, you can press this little paintbrush to apply to all features. So once that's completed, we can generate the toolpath or the operational plan, regenerate if you need to, and generate the toolpath. Now if we look down through the toolpath, we can see that the center one has a roughing operation and a contouring operation. And not only that, but the contouring operation will follow the median of the tolerance. So it will try machine at 50.00. Then if we look at the lower pocket, the 40mm pocket, it just has a roughing operation. And the roughing operation here, it will follow the median of the dimension. So it should follow around at 40.0375. Again, it just has the roughing operation. There's no finishing operation here, which should be good enough to give it within that tolerance of 0.75. Then up on the top, which is the one with the tighter tolerance, it has a roughing operation. Then it has a second roughing operation, which is to remove the remaining or the rest of the material. Then there's a contour operation, and that contour should contour around at 60 minus 0.0125. Again, if we look at the holes, there'll be a center. It will do a drilling operation, and then it will do a reaming operation to obtain the tolerance of plus or minus 0.1. So if we run the simulation, so we have our roughing and our contouring on the first one. The second one, we just have our roughing. And the third machining operation, we have a roughing, a rough resting, and then our contouring. Then we have our center drilling, and our reaming. Now, while this viewing showing the differences is not it's not necessarily ideal. It will show you some differences. For example, if you look at the bottom pocket, you can see that it's 0.4, which is within our tolerance of 0.75 for that pocket. But it doesn't show everything that you need to see on the rest of it, unfortunately. So that concludes how to do a tolerance-based machining. There's a second tolerance-based machining part of Moodle, TBM Part 2, that I advise or encourage you to download and try it for yourself and see how you get on. Thanks, and hopefully it was helpful. Thank you.